On April 30th, 22 years old Gerald Smith went to few bars in the town of Terre Haute, Indiana with friends for drinks. He was a university student majoring in insurance and risk management, and he was about to graduate in a month. At 12:40 am on May 1st, Gerald was seen outside a bar by a professor and offered a ride home. He refused and kept going. The location he was seen is surrounded by the university campus buildings. In the evening, friends and family didn't hear from Gerald and reported him as missing. This location is 1 mile from Wabash River. For 3 days, police and students searched for Gerald with nothing to show. On May 8th, 7 days after Gerald went missing, 50 miles from where Gerald was last seen, his body was found in Wabash River. He had all the clothes he was last seen with, and his wallet was in his pocket. An autopsy was done, and it was determined he died from accidental drowning. His blood alcohol was not released to the public. If the river took him 50 miles out of town, it's interesting that his wallet was still in his pocket. Why would he go near the river anyway? What happened to Gerald remains a mystery to this day. At the time of this incident, Paul Schroeder was a 72-year-old guy who immigrated to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada with his family. Paul was very religious and only spoke German and a bit of English. He worked at Western Arch Rib Structure until he retired in 1965. The family had a cottage at Lac Sainte Anne Lake 40 miles west of Edmonton. In early July of 1972, Paul and his wife went to their cottage to spend some time and join the church camp that was going on close to them. On July 16th in the afternoon, Paul had just finished mowing the lawn of the cottage and went to get some water from the lake, but he vanished. 2 members of the church were the last people who saw him at 6:30 p.m. going towards the lake. It's worth mentioning Paul wore glasses. He was almost blind in the left eye and walked in a stooped, shuffling manner. Once Paul's wife couldn't find him, she reached out to the cops and a search was started. The head of the search thought this would be an easy search because of the disabilities of Mr. Schroeder, but he couldn't be more wrong. The area around the cabin was completely searched by foot, dogs, and planes. They didn't find a single sign of Paul. Later, they started searching the trains, buses, and airports with no avail. Paul Schroeder was never found. Matthew Huszar was a 25-year-old guy who studied biology at the University of British Columbia and got his bachelor. He was an outdoors man and very smart. He was originally from Alberta, but moved to Vancouver for studies. On December 16, 2011, Matthew went to Lamplighter Pub in the north of Vancouver with some friends for some drinks. His friends later said he had alcohol, but he wasn't drunk or intoxicated. At some point during the night, the friends went home and Matthew went his own way. Matthew was supposed to meet up with his mother the following day, but he didn't show up, and he was reported as missing. The police brought canine dogs which didn't pick up any scents. They brought helicopters, planes, and hundreds of searchers to the area, but nobody found anything. The police stated they didn't find any evidence of foul play. 2 years later, his body was found on the opposite side of the town where he went missing. He was found in the south of Vancouver at False Creek Harbor. The coroner said he died shortly after he left the pub. But why would he go 2 kilometers away and in the opposite direction of his home? And if he was in the water for 2 years, why his body didn't surface sooner? We will never know what really happened to Matthew Huszar.